Hello and welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hello, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to me today. Today I am doing a really straightforward one, and I don't need any notes for this. It's just all going to come out of me. Why? Well, because I am a Sag. So right near the cusp of Scorpio and Sag, my Venus is in Scorpio, but my Sun is in Sag. So it's like me just having another day at the office and sitting at a coffee shop talking freely. That's what you're going to get today. So I hope that if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing if you feel so inclined. It really helps me out and it places value in what I do. I am doing a Venus series right now, if you haven't noticed. So I am doing the signs in love, signs, all matters of signs in the matters of the heart and how they love, how they relate, how they connect. So please go back and have a look. I may have already covered your sign. Also, I have other videos on the light and dark side aspects of the chart, the signs. Of course, all charts are different. They're all placed, everything's placed in different places, and it's, everyone's got their own very unique astrological DNA. So these are generally, they're general. I can't cover every combination of every sign. That's impossible. So please, when I get comments or people think that, it's like, I know that we're just being general here. But that being said, I like to go deep, raw, and dark. So if you're not up for real talk, if you're not up to hear something that could offend you, there might be some swearing, I just kind of go wherever I want. Being a Sagittarius, it's like always knowing where the edge of the pen is, where the boundaries are, where the limits are. I push myself to limitless effort every day, in my work, in my life, in my mind. And if you can't follow that, and if you can't understand that, that's not on me. And whatever you choose to do with my level of knowledge is also, yet again, that is not on me at all. So I am merely facilitating the information that I am passing on to you. So I know most of the signs that follow me are generally would be a Scorpion, a Sag, or a Gemini. So hello to my Scorpion, Sages, and Geminis. You are in for a treat. You're getting an in-depth look in my brain, in my head, that is coming from absolute truth. So it comes from a place, because to a Sagittarius in general, there is nothing higher than truth. And there is nothing higher than spirituality. Same as me being an occultist or a witch. When you're working with spirit or you're making art or creating something, there is nothing of more importance or higher than that. Okay? I know that sounds a little bit snobby, but that's actually the truth. Okay? Because we're talking about concepts and things and the bare bones of existence. We're not interested, like as I'm already going there now, I'm so not interested in getting caught up in red tape and paperwork and working in some psychopathic corporation's office in a pod. No, the world is my home. And of course, as I've gotten smarter and wiser and had to break down and break through and break down and break through many times, and many more to come, I've been able to acquire a level of understanding of life and the world at large and the things behind the world that makes the world the way that it is. That's why it's very difficult for some Sagittarians to go into therapy or Geminis to go into therapy, because if they've already been able to intellectualize the world that they're in and explain that and understand that, they already have an incredible range of access to their own emotions and to why they feel the way that they feel. So coming at it from a point of view of telling them, of them not knowing why they are the way they are, they fucking know the way that they are. What we need to do is work on the action phase to implement tools to shift things. Okay, so I hope that made sense. I hope I'm not getting too heavy with you or too meta. But yeah, so let's just jump straight in to Sagittarius in love. If you're a Sag, This is the video for you. If you're whatever sign you are, if, you've got your Venus is in Sagittarius, then this is the video for you. So please, no jumping ahead, no, skipping ahead. I'm going to try and just keep it straight to the point. We're going to go straight down the line. And I really want to keep this video recording probably no more than 40 minutes. So if your Venus is in Sagittarius, life is an adventure. You're like a big, bouncy puppy dog, a retriever energy. Sagittarian kids are adventurers, and a lot of them don't grow up. The darker side of Sagittarius would be a Peter Pan, the lost boy. The lost boys would be, a lot of that lost boy energy would be Peter Pan. Now, before I go further, so there are a lot of dark Sagittarians in the world, all right? And there is nothing worse in the world than a Sagittarian that feels trapped by someone else. There is nothing more depressing than a cynical Sagittarius. They can be very, very destructive and very, very dangerous. A lot of Sagittarians can be very dangerous cult leaders and serial killers. They have that in them, okay? They have the ability to hold an audience. They are not afraid to speak their truth. They're not afraid to speak truth against authority. They have a commanding presence. We are talking about a fire energy here, whether it's in your sun or your moon, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. We need an audience. There is not so much as a Leo does, but Sagittarius does require the feedback loop from the people that they're giving the information to back to them again. And when they talk, you can hear a boom to their voice. A lot of Sagittarians, this is what a Sagittarian's voice sounds like. It's usually deep. They've got like a very strong range of access to their own vocabulary. They're very well spoken and they like to just get it out. So it's like the power of a genie inside of a human being. There is God energy in a Sagittarius. Remember, Sagittarius is the oldest aspect of the fire signs. It's the philosopher, it's the teacher. This is the old man with a beard that is sitting like at a campfire and telling a story. This is the centor, okay? So the oldest of the centaurs, I did a video on Sagittarius explaining it. But before this sign moved became centaur or the Sagittarius, half man, half horse, it was a satyr. So it was half goat, half human. So they do struggle with excessive problems. And I will get onto that a little bit more in this channel. But yes, the power of the universe is inside of this sign, the power of a genie. But that power has to be confined within restraints and rules. And so Sagittarius is bound to the laws of physics, bound to the laws of gravity, bound by the laws of the genie. So if you understand what I'm saying and you're getting it and you're listening to me and you're a Sagittarius, you're probably nodding, because you can feel that. You've got a lot of life force inside of you. And this needs a place to go. It needs a sounding board to be bounced off and contained. All subject, of course, to placements, of course. If you've got lots of fire in your chart, then it's going to be a fucking journey. If you've got like Sagittarius sun and then you've got a lot of heavy earth like Virgo or Capricorn, well, then that's going to be more of a grounded energy. So as we know, it's all subject to placements. But this sign loves the world and stories and culture, and they want to be around something that identifies very strongly with a culture. They want to know who came first, the chicken or the egg. They're not interested, like Gemini. Geminis and Sagittarians are not interested in talking about the past of things that have been explored. They are interested in the potentiality of what has not been explored or what has not been understood or what has not come to pass. That is how this sign operates. And they need a strong identity to connect with but they are restless. Sagittarians in love, Sagittarian energy in general, it is so restless. This is a spicy energy, and it is like a hot chili. And then tomorrow it could be a baguette in a French cafe, okay? It's a tapestry of life that is weaved like a blanket that is the Sagittarian. They have a very strong sense of self, which is very, very powerful. Now, there's nothing more important, and the biggest turn on for me personally speaking is when I meet someone and they have a very, very strong sense of identity. If you don't know who you are, if you're confused, if you're ambivalent, if you're indifferent, if you anything that isn't either kind of structured to a Sagittarius doesn't make the Sagittarius feel anything for them. Because you've got to state your claim, state your intention. That gets a Sagittarius's attention. Show them who you are. Sagittarians are not interested in what you say. They are only interested in what you do through your behavior and actions. Because we know that anyone can say anything. If someone says, I love you, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? It's got to be shown through the action. This is exciting to the Sagittarian. They want to go on an adventure, and you will never find a lover like a Sagittarian, okay? They want to take you places into limitless unknowns, okay? This is the explorer. You might be traveling to Mountain Kilimanjaro. You might be going down to the bottom of the ocean. You might be trying to contact a demon. You might be trying to contact an angel. A lot of the Sagittarians, once they've transcended physicality, they start fucking around with the other side. They have a very strong interest in the occult, a very strong interest in spirituality. They want to be as close to God as anything can be. They will trade everything that they have in their house, every object, every bedpost, every car, to transcend physicality, which is something that's happening to me now as I've gotten older, and it's happening now. I'm actually quite lucky because I've noticed a lot of Sages only get this when they're in their 60s and like coming into their 70s. I'm getting it now in my 30s. I don't give a fuck about all this physical shit. I've finally understood the strongest and most heaviest lesson a human can understand is that other than forgiveness and love and compassion and oneness, physicality, this is just physical shit. Everything that I own can be thrown, it'll all be landfill. Okay, so we're not interested in the physical world and materiality. We're interested in the exchange of energy and the stories and the real meaning behind things. Okay, so if you can't grasp the concept of a soul, if you can't grasp the concept of things like there's more to life than just the physical matter of things, like nothing higher than physical matter, you are absolutely worthless, hopeless, useless to the Sagittarius. They will fuck you off in 2 seconds straight. You have to be able to give them something that makes them feel that you can grow with them and expand with them. They don't want to carry your ass. All right. So first off the bat, they need someone who has a passion and an enthusiasm for life. Okay, you've got to have an enthusiasm for life. If you're tired, if you're bored, if you're quiet, always yawning, no energy, bye, see ya, out the door. You'll never hear from them again. Or they'll keep you where they need you until a certain point comes up, and then the Sagittarius will fuck you off. This sign is the most elusive fish in the sea. They have no problem being alone. They do not need a partner. A lot of Sagittarians don't end up with one life partner. They have many, many different partners. And as I've come to understand, this is going to sound a bit crazy, but perhaps you can relate to this. If you might have a moon in your Sag, I'm going to say something that I never thought I would say, is that you don't get Sagittarians so much as lovers forever. You get them as friends, and they can have soulmates and a lover in their best friend. Okay, so the whole concept of Sagittarians only having one lover and one friend for their whole life, no, they'll form a relationship with someone like a Gemini or a Libra, potentially, that can receive them intellectually and make the Sagittarius feel safe because it makes them feel like they can be understood. They can actually form a stronger lover relationship with another sign than the other sign's partner is with them. So that's where Sagittarian runs the risk of the other signs falling in love with Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is just that way inclined. And if you're in a stagnated relationship and a Sagittarian comes along, they're going to fucking electric shock the hell out of your life and electric shock the hell out of your mind and your love life. That's why, I've heard stories, just veering off the topic, and I feel like this video is going to get quite long, so I might have to break it up into 2 parts today. But yeah, I heard a story of like a Sagittarian guy that, a lot of Sagittarians are very bisexual. They're very, very, very sexual. They've got a very strong sexual energy and a very, very strong free will. And a Sagittarian riding a motorbike is really just another day at the office, okay? They will come along into another relationship and maybe even jolt that relationship into a whole new stratosphere. So they can come in as a friend, end up coming to visit and stay, and they don't care where they'll stay. They'll sleep on a rug on the floor. They don't care. They'll sleep on the couch. But suddenly, before you know it, you're sucking their dick, or they're sucking your dick, or before you know it, somehow you're in a 3-way with them, with your boyfriend. Very, 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 very common in the Sagittarians world. Okay, lines get blurred here all the time. Unless the Sagittarian comes from a very strict upbringing that is connected to religion, the Sagittarian is all about expansion of the mind, of the heart, of the soul, on all ways, in all things. They're very, very excessive. Okay, so addictions, sexual addictions, just another day at the office for a Sagittarian. Okay, now Venus in Sagittarius, this is fierce energy. They are so up for a magical time with you, but they need to see the potential that you can hold that space for them and be able to encompass all of the different aspects of who they are and mold that with who you are. So all of your culture has to merge with their culture. All of your culture's got a, vice versa kind of thing. They're into philosophical intelligence. They want big ideas, big concepts, okay? Don't think small. If you're thinking small, you're already way behind the 8 ball, okay? Way behind the 8 ball. These guys are highly, highly intelligent people, all right? Think of like mutable fire. They love colors on their palette. They love lots of colors in their house, lots of colors on their plate, lots of reds and bright oranges and blues, and are feeling alive. Sagittarians, Venus in Sag in a relationship needs movement. We do not want stagnation. If you're cold, if you're stale, if you're stagnated, if you're very rigid in your thinking, it won't work. The Sagittarian will abandon you. The horse will bolt, they'll be gone in the night, and you'll never hear from them again. Or they'll do the Scorpio thing. They just push you away and they cut you off. That's just how they are. They love living in the realm of dreams, living in the realms of potential possibilities that are so out there that it's almost like crazy. Okay, but this is a crazy fun sign. They've got this joyous hippy dippy energy as well, a lot of them, and it's all about freedom. This is the word that if there's one word that I could describe about the Sag, if you want to win the Sag's heart, it's about freedom. Okay, you must make them feel that they can be whoever they are and accept them and embrace them for whatever they are, no matter what that might be. All right. So they have a rebellious spirit to them and they don't want to be tamed. This is stubborn energy. Okay. They're very stubborn that way. They'll sleep in a ditch. They'll sleep in their car. If they don't feel received and they don't feel wanted, then the Sag will just go their own way. That's just how they are. That's why I say Sagittarians make the best of friends. They don't make like marriage, like commitment partner thing. Like that's not who they are. Okay. It's just not, this is the hardest sign to commit to. And they do very sporadic things. Like no one's perfect, but a Sagittarius might be married with kids and have a wife and a beautiful family. And the Sagittarius will have a secret lover or a secret person that they like to have sex with. It's just in their nature. On the way home from work, they'll pop into a massage parlor. On the way from work, they'll load up Grindr and get a fuck from a guy, even if they're straight. On the way from work or on a business trip, or usually lots of trips because a lot of them have work that involves travel, they'll go to a brothel. It's just how they are. They have a primal nature in them that is not really designed for commitment to one person. It's just not in their nature. Okay, so it's the dynamic, which I'm going to get a little bit graphic here, but it just is what it is. Sagittarius might have a beautiful wife and kids, and he comes home, he pecks her on the cheek. She's the mother of his kids. He respects her and he loves her. He's very tender and gentle with her. And she is, the family home operator. Sagittarius will also have a whore on the side. And he'll fuck her like he hates her. He will do things to her that he could never do to his wife because he can't be. This is the thing where Sagittarians get stuck in love. They can't have it both ways. Same thing when you say, it's weird because Sagittarius is not an overly monogamous sign in general, but you can't have multiple paradigms. This is the problem that Gemini has. You can't have multiple paradigms operating at one time in one being and reap the reward of all of those things. You have to be able to choose one paradigm and choose that team and be loyal to that team to get the best long-term results. So that's a key there that I will say. And they're not very, they're quite shameless about it as well. A lot of if they're a darker Sagittarius, they will cheat and lie, embellishing the truth and manipulating truth at times if they can. And it's not even an intentional thing. It's just that Jupiterian energy. It's Jupiter. It's all about expansion. So that's just how they are. All right. So I know it's hard to hear that, but it's in their nature. And the moment that you tell it to them straight like that, they'll feel so called out, but at the same time, they don't have shame about it because that's the wolf and the dog. Okay. There's a battle with the Sagittarian in love, which is of the mind and knowing what is righteous and the right thing to do by God or their concept of God. And the other side, which is a primal beast that needs to fuck. It's like a lot of them have big horse dicks. A lot of them have very thick legs and thick thighs, very big, round bubble butts, big ass. Like the way to spot a Sagittarian is by their long teeth and their legs and hips. They're curvaceous and they like their hair untamed, usually straight and long and kind of frizzy and crazy. And they love driving in the car with the window down and the music up loud in summertime. There's got to be a sense of energy. They don't really like settling down. So exploring reality with them, they'll explore reality, but they want to explore fantasy as well. And then if you could bring the wisdom into that as well, and if you bring all of your experiences that you've acquired to them, and the more diverse and more cultural that is, it's like a melting pot. They'll love that. Okay. Lots of spicy foods, this is the sign that wants to get up and dance. So if you want to date them, do something physical, dancing, bowling. They're into stuff that is Very physical. This is a very, very, very physical sign. They're not going to be sitting on the couch. You've got to keep up with them. They want you to keep up with them. If you can't keep up with them, then they're going to feel that you're restricting them, and then they're going to push you away. Also with a Sagittarius, your first impressions to them are very, very crucial. It's very, very difficult to get a Sagittarius back and get them to come back through the door once you've shown them that you can't be trusted. Like I said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Sagittarius will see you as you are when they first meet you and assess what you've done up until them meeting you. And if that doesn't correlate with their version of what they see their future as, and you can't fit that bill, then they will not respect you. Once Sagittarius has lost respect for you by you usually being inauthentic with yourself, or lying, or telling the truth, or being stagnant and complacent, or being indifferent, the Sagittarius will not see you as an option, and nothing you can do is going to change that. I'm sorry. They will leave you behind, and they should leave you behind. Okay, like I said, they don't want to backtrack the steps that they've been on and slow down. This is a fast-paced moving sign. So they talk fast, they talk deep, and they want to get real and raw and dirty and primal. They're not afraid to show their dirty hands out in the garden with the dirt under their fingernails. They know how to raise babies. They know how to put on a stove, a pot, and get on with it. This is the Sagittarius spirit, much like the Aries spirit, which is the pioneer. Okay, they're pioneering their way through life, and they've got to believe that, life has a meaning. Everything into a Sagittarius in love has to have some kind of metaphysical power to it. And they have a very magnetic attraction about them. These are very powerful lovers. They are powerful people. They have their very unique way of looking at the world and looking at things around them. They don't want to be with someone who is like a sheep. They don't want to sit there and read all of this bullshit. What they want is just to skip it and get straight to the dot points and get to the thing. Like, if you can condense mass amounts of information into very short, sharp, bite-sized bits of information, the Sagittarius and Aries will absolutely love that. They like to challenge the status quo, and they like to challenge people around them. But they generally don't want to challenge. What I've noticed, the shadow side of in this concept with Sagittarius, and I'm getting a little bit deeper here now, is that they don't have a problem with what you're saying. They have a problem with the authoritativeness of where your point of view comes from. That's the challenge to the Sagittarius. So if you are a Sag and you're listening now, and someone says something that you disagree with, is it because you genuinely disagree with the subject matter of their viewpoint, or is it because the viewpoint felt restrictive to you and imbalanced in a power dynamic to you, that they are high, that they see themselves, or you see them as being higher than you, and that feeling unfair and not feeling inequality to you? So please challenge the status quo within that as well, and then understand that everyone has free will and can believe whatever they want. To me, I don't give a fuck what people believe. You believe whatever you want, but I know reality, and I know also that the yield of what someone else creates under a false narrative will still be nothing in the end, which makes me kind of laugh a little bit. But that might sound intellectually, like I said, there's a godlike energy to Sagittarius. So a lot of Sagittarians, which I've struggled with, and I'm being honest here, is I have a superiority complex and an inferiority complex about it. So yeah, it's a real head fuck. So if you end up going into a psych's office and you're a Sagittarius and we can get to that, then put that on the table. The psychologist will be completely in over their head with you. So yeah, they want strong-minded, strong-spirited people. And sexually, they usually have sex with a lot of their friends. They're very adventurous. And obviously, I mean, it just goes without saying. I mean, it's just who they are. It's in their nature. They like the taboo. They go for the forbidden fruit. That's just how they are. So when you say no, like Marina Abramovich, one of her favorite lines that she said, and I have the same placement as her, is she said, when someone says no, that's just the beginning. You know, that means when someone closes the door, that's the challenge. And we need challenge in life to grow and to aspire, because we need resistance to build strength. Okay. Now, in a relationship, long term, to keep a Sagittarius and sustain them, you have to be able to sustain them. So if they've left you, or they've moved on from you, or they've pulled away from you, it's because you couldn't sustain them. You felt restrictive to them. Your thoughts, your energy felt restrictive to them. They don't like that. They don't want that. You've got to grow alongside them, like walking a dog. You can't have the dog in front of you. You can't have the dog behind you. You've got to be right beside them. That's how they see life. That's where they want you, right beside them, holding hands in equality in a relationship. The moment you start gaining weight and you start giving up and you stop working, the Sagittarius is already fucking someone else. All right. There'll always be a plan B and a C and a D and an E, always waiting in the wings with this sign. The moment that friendship ends, the Sagittarius is already gravitating into another relationship. That's just how it's like a lava lamp. One bubble forms into another bubble, and that bubble, it's like a flow, and they just let it go. A lot of them let things go. Okay. A darker Sagittarius will hold on to things, which can be very bad because their beautiful light gets buried under bitterness and resentment. And a light Sagittarius just, if they can't let it go, then they get buried under bitterness. But if the Sag can learn to let go and smile and just be free, then they don't give the power of their attention or focus onto someone who hurt them. They just move on with their life and transmute that pain into something positive and proactive. So yeah, you got to kind of be able to grow and expand with them. They make things grow. A lot of them have a green thumb. They can make flowers grow, grass grow, things around them. They love animals. A lot of them will work at like homeless shelters. A lot of them will work at like veterinary clinics part-time. They're very busy. They like to be very, very busy, and they need you to be very busy too. They don't want to hear that you're sitting around doing nothing. You've got to have your own dreams. The best thing about a Sag in love or in life is that you can be whatever you want to be. You come as you are, but you must be passionate and you must be talented in what you do, in working and honing in and perfecting your craft. If you don't have that going on, they're not going to hang around. All right. So you've got to be able to bring that in, even if it's like shoemaking or making belts or making stickers. It doesn't matter what it is. The more quirky it is, the more a Sagittarius will love it because it pulls away from the mainstream. But the more that if you don't have passion and vigor and zest for it and optimism in what you do, they're not interested. So you've got to have a strong essence to who you are, no matter which way that comes in. All right, they love that. And that's just striving energy. It's just got to keep going, keep moving. They want to be, this is a wild heart, all right? So they're chasing the arrows, they're chasing their dreams. You'll go and travel with them to places that you could never, ever get to. You would never go to see these ruins or places and mental places that they can take you. I'm probably doing it now in this video by default, telling you things that you may not have heard like this. That's just how we are. All right. So if you can believe in what they believe in, all the better. Okay. You've got to be a very good listener. If you can't intellectually understand the Sagittarius and you're too caught up in small-minded ideas, it's bye, see ya, and they disappear. That will feel restrictive. I can't keep coming back to that. But they're very rowdy. They're like a ruckus. The energy at work is they might be very loud at work. A little bit of chaos doesn't go astray. It keeps them on their toes. Like a bird in a cage. They want to flap like Nelly Furtado. I'm like a bird. That song, Whoa Nelly. You know, she's a Sagittarius. She is the perfect embodiment of a Sagittarius. She came from a multicultural background. Money comes and goes with Sages as well. So it's either feast or famine. They're doing really, really well, or they're back on the couch at someone's house. And then out of nowhere, they'll be doing super, super well again. And then they'll be back on the couch at someone else's house. It's very up and down. It's a little bit like Pisces in that way. A lot of them don't place a lot of high value in the acquisition of materiality. They place high value in memories and experiences and starting new things and starting relationships, even sometimes even starting battles, you know, like the Aries does. A lot of Aries energy. If you've got Aries and Sag in your chart like I do, there's a lot of fire there, and that fire has to go into something productive or it can burn everything around it, like starting a forest fire or something. So yeah, you've got to have capability. They like capable people, and they believe in the spiritual law. So there's like a spiritual law behind things. That's their mission, to understand the spiritual law of like all things and all encompassing, like the universe and things like that. You have to have a strength of charisma to you, and it's tricky because Sagittarius is more of an alpha dominating energy, and in a relationship, depending on where their placement is, they can be a little bit less adventurous, a little bit more sub-like. It's a tricky one, but either way, it'll be pushing limits. It'll be pushing expansion, and they believe in love and they like love. They just have a really radical, a really radical expression of love. And as I've mentioned, a lot of them go for very old partners. It's not uncommon for an early 20-year-old man to be dating a really older woman, or it could be a really older Sagittarius man dating a really younger girl. This is not uncommon. It does have a lot of shadow there, I won't lie, because there is an inequality of time and understanding in the other person that's lower than them. But yes, it's just kind of what they go for. They go for the taboo. They're highly, highly sexual. They will have sex with you on the first date. They will. This is the sign that gets you excited. They make you smirk. This is the magician. They've always got an answer up their sleeve. They've always got lessons and doors within doors. And it's like a maze. It's moving around all the time. I was in one of my last ones I talked about how Dream of the Endless would be a Gemini. His older brother, Destiny, would be a Sagittarius. He was this old man with a white beard, and he had a book chained to his wrist, and that book contained all of the wisdom and knowledge of everything in the universe. And he lives inside of a maze that moves around that's very difficult to get to. This is totally the embodiment of a Sagittarius, all-knowing, all-encompassing, and creative, bold. They have a very strong sense of decoration. Their house will be decorated with lots of different bits and pieces of things. So if you can relate to their aesthetic, that would be really cool. They don't have a taste in people. They just go for what they go for. They could go for a really, really scrawny, skinny girl, or they could go for a really, really big girl. It really depends on the energy and the mood and the vibe. It's really kind of like all over the shop. So they like people around them that make them feel free. So give them freedom, like more than they know what to do with. That's how you keep a Sagittarius in a relationship. A lot of them do have like insecurities, like we all do. That's just something that they have to work through in their life. But be open-minded and don't hold them back, and always support their dreams. If you can listen to them and support what they're doing and place value in what they do, they'll love you. They will be your friend. This is a sign that genuinely wants the best for you. A lot of them really do want you to succeed. And it's tricky when you've never had a friend that just wants to like help you. It's like, no, they really just want the best for you. Like they're just trying to be fucking good to you because they want you to do well. They understand that it takes someone else to believe in you sometimes before you can believe in yourself. Okay. Although Sagittarius is very elusive and they're not very willing to commit, they will stick around to support their partners if you hold the same vision and they feel that they can grow to make themselves better with you. It's all about being better. How can they be better, bigger, bolder? That's the Sag. Jupiter. How can I make more money? A lot of them end up quite wealthy in the end, but they begin to realize that the acquisition of money is not the point of life. They want to buy experiences. They don't want to buy another couch for that second dining room or some shit. They're not interested in that, okay? So it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. You will never forget a Sagittarius. Once you've had a taste of a really cool Sag and the lessons that they've shown you and the elevation that they've been able to bring to you, you will feel like it's like tapping into like a power socket, if you've got a narcissistic Sagittarius, a lot of them can be very intellectual snobby, like snobbish a little bit, which can be a problem. A lot of them end up as professors or teachers. They have an opinion on everything. A good Sagittarius is open. Like, I'm open to anything you want to say to me. If you don't agree with me, that's okay, no problem. But this is my truth. So the Sagittarians that are very rigid are like, this is how it is, it's black or it's white, and I'm right and you're wrong. That type of thinking is not conducive to a good life with a Sagittarius or dealing with them in general. That's just a pain in the ass. So yeah, very few things scare them. The ideas of the unknown are the thing that Sag likes. One of the things that Marina Abramovich talked about was when she came into her art class, she asked everyone to write down an idea that is absolute rubbish, that they would think would be terrible, and it would be a terrible idea and they should never do that. And then everyone wrote down on a piece of paper what their idea was that was shit, that they would never want to do as an artist. And they scrunched up that piece of paper and threw it into a bin on the front of the desk in her class. And then she picked up the bin and started reading out all of the ideas, and they were the exact ideas that she wanted everyone else to explore. Because the idea is that the Sagittarius knows that the shadow side is where we must go, because that's where the answers have been least explored. That's where the answers lie, because you haven't looked there yet. So that's where, as for an artist that is a Sag, talking now freely, I'm never going to do the same thing. I'm never going to do another tarot card deck. I'm never going to do, like, once I've done one thing, I've done it. I'm moving on to the next thing. There's so many other things to do that I'm not doing the same thing again. I don't want to backtrack. That's boring to me. Yeah. That's why I went into the occult. Then I went into holistic healing, then I went into readings, then I went into making a tarot deck, then I went from a tarot deck into making kids' books, and then I'm going to go into making films. Like, there's just, Sagittarians do lots and lots of different things. There's always something in the pot that's cooking. They have crazy ass lives. They've been the garbage bin, they've been the fireman, they've been the baker, they've gone and fought overseas, they've come home, then they drove a cab. Listen to their stories, because all of these stories, like Gemini, have all of these wonderful aspects to them. And it's just such an enthusiastic, interesting patchwork of life. Okay, so that's how you do it. A lot of them will end up as volunteers at places. They have a very strong sense of what's right or wrong. And you've got to have an interest in social equality. You have to have an interest in politics. A lot of them are interested in what's going on. They're very outspoken about something that feels unjust to them. They don't like power imbalances, and they do not like being used. All right, so do not try and use them in any way, shape, or form. The Sagittarius will seek revenge. Okay. So if you're going to make the first move in a relationship, the way to win them is you make the first move. You have to be the initiator. Buy them a drink, send it over to the bar from the other side. Get on the dance floor first. Wink at them. They don't like pussyfooting around. Be direct communication. Don't go around in circles. Don't play little flirty games. The Sagittarius, like myself, would rather someone just come up to me and say, I really find you attractive. Are you single? Are you interested? Can we go and fuck? And yep, done. That's how you do it. You've got to be bold and direct. That turns them on. It doesn't turn them off. Confidence and optimism excites the Sagittarius. When you start playing mind games with them, they can't be fucked with that. Won't work. It is not the way to win them, okay? This sign likes it real and they like it raw. They don't like fake people. They don't like fake tits. They don't like fake lips. They want you to come like Taurus does. You come as you are and you own who you are and you're confident in who you are. You don't have to change who you are to be society's version of what society requires you to be aesthetically pretty as. Sagittarius would see that as some level of conformity, which would be absolutely repulsive to the Sagittarius. Okay, you've got to show different aspects, show all of the sides to you that can change, that can accommodate all of their things that determine who they are. All right. So the word forever really scares them. The concept of forever is a big one for Sag. So be careful when you say the word forever, because that concept is like, oh my God, that's huge. So freedom. Don't ever get too crowded. If you're like, where are you? When are you coming home? Where have you been? What are you doing? Like if you're too like messaging them all the time, you want to put like a GPS tracker on, microchip them, they will run. Okay, they do not want to be micromanaged on any level. They don't want that. Sagittarius is a shot of whiskey. All right, as they get older, they'd rather just settle down in a library and drink whiskey and talk about like really heavy concepts. All right, so that's kind of how they are. They're into anthropology and digging up dinosaur bones and going to museums and like exploring all a range of different musics, from opera to rock to punk rock. Like, so in the bedroom, spicy. It's got to be hot, dirty, kinky, filthy, vulgar, taboo. That gets them going, all right? The concept of Sag is that the grass is always greener on the other side. A lot of them in relationships, once they get the relationship, they don't want it anymore. It's the chase of the relationship that keeps the Sagittarius. So what I would say is, don't share everything with them straight away. Same with the Gemini. People don't desire something that they already have, all right? You have to create distance and space to create desire. Nothing breeds contempt more than familiarity, all right? It's just how it works, all right? So you've got to have a lure. You've got to have mystery to you to attract the Sagittarius. You've got to bring something to the table, because Sagittarius don't want to cut. They're not like a Cancer where they'll take care of you and look after you. They don't want codependent relationships. Oh my God, a codependent relationship would be hell to a Sagittarius. No way. They want to combine your energy with theirs and have a best friend that goes off on an adventure as a life partner. They're not interested in playing games. They want the real thing, real, raw, and messy. If you can show that you can be vulnerable, then they'll like that even more, because it shows that it's real. Okay, in order to actually build a relationship, you have to actually have vulnerability. You have to show the other person the parts of you that are vulnerable, that are imperfect, that show relatability, because they have it too. We all do. When we're presenting ourselves as like a perfect fucking Barbie doll, like a blow-up doll, it's like that's not real. So, and if it's not real, it can't last because it's not real, okay? So that's how it is. Now, have a sense of humor. They like to have a laugh. Play practical jokes on them. They like that too. Then they're happy, like they like that too. They like a craving of laughter. Keep it funny, celebration, practical jokes, little surprise things. Put a little spider under their pillow or some shit. A lot of the Sages like to keep it lighthearted because they know that life is dark and the world is fucked up. So they don't want to sit in that all the time. They can't ignore it, but they do like to have a good time. Cindy was right. Girls just want to have fun. Cyndi Lauper, that song, Girls Want to Have Fun, Sagittarius, all the way. Xena Warrior Princess, Sagittarius, all the way. That show, two women roaming the world, battling gods, dealing with problems, having a best friend companion that turns into a relationship, and going to India, going to China, going to Chin, like all of these different places around the world that they traveled, that they went to, and all of the different places they went to showed aspects of who they were in turn, because everything's all interconnected. Everything's connected. Sagittarians understand in the world cause and effect. Move something here, something changes there, something moves over there. It's all connected. All right. Indiana Jones meets the Dalai Lama. Perfect analogy. The number 24 and the number 10 come up a lot around Sagittarius. Not sure why 24 or 10, but that is a thing. So they will be spontaneous. Anything that involves routine, nope. Bye. See ya. Routine equals stagnation. Stagnation equals being trapped. Trapped makes me feel like shit. Out the door. Okay, so Taurus and Sagittarius, not a very strong compatibility there. But yes, I hope that I've given you a ton. It's been 49 minutes of me just rattling on some, and I'm only scratching the surface, and there's always more. There's always more doors, worlds within worlds, okay? If they've got an interest in the fantasy, they'd be interested in Game of Thrones. They'd be interested in Dune by Frank Herbert. It deals with sociology and it deals with spirituality, and it's got action, it's got adventure, it's got sandworms. They fucking love that shit. All of that stuff makes them excited. So this is how you get a Sag, how you keep a Sag, the understanding the Sagittarian's mindset. Andrew Tate is a Sagittarius. A lot of red pill males, a lot of that term red pill, that's very, very Sagittarian. A lot of these men that are in groups that identify as red pill males or alpha males, Sag, 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 Sag. All right, this was Sagittarius. Please leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Tell me about your Sagittarius experiences. I love to hear about it. It helps me grow. Leave a comment below, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next Venus video or whatever video I feel like doing. I just go with what I feel. Thank you so much for sticking it out, and I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've had a lot of fun explaining to you this sign. All right, bye.